so humbled to be in the presence of all of you. Thank you so much. All these amazing women. I should have spent more time on my speech. I've been so busy. Okay. Thank you, Karen. Wow. I'm so sorry. Just give me a second to collect myself. I'm a very emotional person. And how are you so eloquent and brilliant at this time of the morning? Very early. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to follow that, what you just said, but I will try my best. Thank you to the Hollywood Reporter for this Equity and Entertainment Award. I really am honored. Thank you so much. When we talk about equity and entertainment, I, like so many others in this room, speak from experience. In the early days of my career, I often felt like that underdog, you know, that Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx who wasn't supposed to be in the room, let alone at the center of it. I was told in 100 different ways what roles people like me were expected to play, and I played some of those roles. I saw how stereotypes tried to box me in before I even had the chance to show what I could really do. And then Selena came along, and it was a film that changed the course of my career. You know, I've always known that I was walking the path made possible by trailblazers like Chita Rivera, Rita Moreno, Dolores Del Rio, Katie Hurtado, Latina women who opened doors long before I ever dreamed of this career. Yet, decades later, there was still resistance to a Latina leading a studio movie and having to work so incredibly hard to prove that we can carry romantic comedies and thrillers and command stage, hoping that with each role, the myth of it can't be done evaporated just a little bit more. That representation rearranges the boundaries of imagination for a new generation. And when I thought about what I wanted to say today, I kept returning to the films that shaped me. The first is West Side Story, because it was the first time I saw people who looked and sounded like me on screen, and it made me believe that I too could be in the movie business. And that's why I'm so proud to be part of A Kiss of the Spider Woman. Manuel Puig wrote that groundbreaking novel in the 1970s, a story about two prisoners, one queer and one political, sharing a cell and discovering connection in the darkest of times and the smallest of spaces. It is about imagination as survival, empathy as rebellion, and humanity as liberation. At its core, it's about loving each other, remembering that love is the thing. Manuel did this at a time when portraying a queer protagonist as complex, flawed, brave, and quite simply human was nothing short of revolutionary. There's a reason, I think, that this story keeps getting adapted, keeps getting told. It is more relevant than ever in 2025. Unfortunately, oppression doesn't stay in the past. It morphs, it shifts, it shows up in new forms. And Puig reminds us that identity, sexuality, power, and humanity are not simple boxes to check. They are lived experiences that demand compassion and nuance. Equity in entertainment is a relay, I think. You know, someone hands you a story, a role, an opportunity, and you pass it forward, hopefully farther. And in my very flawed and inhuman way, I have tried to be intentional in honoring that. Gurvi Nama did that for me with Selena. He took a huge risk and changed my life, and I remember that when I'm advocating for stories that reflect on multifaceted realities, pushing for inclusivity, that goes beyond tokenism and fostering authentic connection and understanding. Trying hard to ensure our screens reflect the kaleidoscope of human experience where no one is relegated to the periphery. We did that boldly decades before we had phrases like representation matters. His work taught us that when you shine a light on someone who has been kept in the dark, the whole room changes. Throughout my career, and one of the reasons I started Nuyorican Productions, I have tried to choose stories that show the fullness of who we are. Latinos, yes, but also Black and brown talent, Indigenous artists, LGBTQ plus communities, immigrants, women, non-binary, people with disabilities, every single person whose experiences have too often been labeled niche when they are anything but. That means hiring underrepresented writers, directors, and crew, producing work that is not always the safe bet, and yes, hearing, are you sure about this? But if our communities waited for certainty, we would not be here at all. I try to mentor, to give people the yes that I didn't always get. Sometimes encouragement and introduction are just a little reassurance. All I have ever wanted is to help people get the visibility, resources, and respect they deserve. This award is not just a reminder of how far we've come, it's a reminder of the work still ahead, and it requires all of us, the storytellers, the executives, the dreamers, the disruptors, and every person in this room who is brave enough to keep going. So thank you, Hollywood Reporter, for this honor. Let's keep pushing, keep imagining, keep insisting on a world where everyone gets to take up space, and let's keep telling stories like Kiss of the Spider Woman that liberate people long before the world realizes how desperately it needs them. Thank you so much. Again, I am so humbled and it's so incredibly moved to be included in this room. Thank you so much. You are all so wonderful.